So at this point in time, I'd like to welcome Innocent Muhizi to, Innocent is the Executive Director at RISA, Rwanda Information Society, I think. Yes, there we go. A round of applause as we welcome Innocent. Welcome. Good to see you. Yeah.
Good morning. You can see Simon is already dictating terms here. I wanted to roam around, but he has decided to, lock me onto this position. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here this morning with you. Allow me to recognize all the dignitaries here, and excuse me, I might not be able to know who is in the house, but I'm very excited. Finally, to put a face to a name, because there are people that have been discussing. Finally, he's letting me loose. Thanks, Simon. There are people that we've been discussing for over 3 years now. For instance, Steve, I've been discussing with Steve for like so long. I can see some other people that I might be able to recognize, Warren? Hola? So there are people that I know, but I've never met. Thanks to Miller, I think we met, at least for him, we met last time. It's an honor to be here, to be with you, and finally to meet people in person. And specifically this week, because what we're discussing here is very important. As somebody who has been in, especially the payment space for over 10 years, I can't tell you how excited I am. But there's one bit that does not excite me. It's because that I don't have that luxury anymore of going back into, the black box, and then I start coding and I see how the transactions are flowing. Those of you who still have that luxury, please grab it with both hands. It is a great opportunity that you guys have at hand. The government of Rwanda has invested significantly into the digital infrastructure. And I say digital infrastructure deliberately because it cuts across all domains. But one key particular emphasis that of recent that we've focused on is to set Rwanda as a proof of concept destination. And in the POC, we've identified 3 critical areas where Rwanda is working towards becoming the proof of concept. And one is in the agriculture space, medical technology, and guess the third one, fintech. And so this is why it is so exciting, especially when we are talking about a technology that is going to power instant payment. Cash on an ATM. As you can think about it, those who have familiarity with this domain, the degree of complexity that you have to deal with. The very first thing, as if you know an ATM, if you say I want to withdraw, let's say 50,000 Rwandan francs, that stupid machine will never know that this is all it does. It knows that here in this particular cassette, this is earmarked for 5,000 or 2,000 or whatever. if you trick it and you put a 2000, it will never detect. All it does is just counts, right? So to enable that, link it with a mobile solution where you are generating an instant one-time password. You load it into an ATM. The ATM is instructed to release cash. It was quite some exciting stuff. I can see some people who were involved in that project. It was really exciting. But that did not go further because actually the question is, why do I need cash? Why don't I transact without involving cash? So we moved on. Right now, the stage at which this country is and a number of other countries on the continent, we really need to get that instantaneous payment so that I can be able to get my services and go, right? And the merchant or the service provider needs to have a proof of payment to be certain that actually Innocent has paid and received their payment. So how else can we do that? And how do you do it? Most importantly, freely, if you will, freely in a sense that you have liberty to design your product, your solution, architected the way you want without any limitations. And that is why this moment is very exciting, because if you have a system or a technology that is able to, by the way, as we're in this room, we can use the platform and we design as many systems as people we have here in the room. You design it to do whatever you want on this side. Somebody else designed it to do whatever he or she wants on this side, still powered by the same technology. And that is the beauty of a system and a technology like Modulo that we have today. We piloted Modulo. I can see Afazad. I don't know if Antari is here. Rachel, Warren. Is Judith here? Oh, she's not. And obviously Leslie Ann is not here. So those are the people who really get into the heated moment. We test this, we test that. But the beauty of it is that we were able to actually show that you can move, fictitious money. It was not real money, from one point to another point. We could send a message. We were able to connect a real institution, right? We would send those who are very good in technical details, send a network message from one side to the other side, right? And you also send a financial transaction from one side to another side. And as a technologist or somebody in the payment space, there's nothing exciting as you send a message and you get an acknowledgement that message has been delivered successfully. You can never understand the feeling of that transaction, right? To other normal sane people, that is like, what is that? I don't understand. But for us who belong in that area, it's very exciting. But the power of that is that there's actually a lot more that you're going to build on top of that to be able to address critical citizen needs. That woman who is selling vegetables somewhere in a market, how can she be able to receive a payment right there and then, and she's certain that she has received her money? The student who is at school, how can he or she be sure that the parent paid without any degree of uncertainty? If you go to a hospital, how can he be able to know that I have actually made my payment? And you don't need to have a very fancy system. Your feature phone is able to do that. But hey, caution, we're trying to kill. There's a technology that I really want to see dead. For once, USSD. It is one technology that I hate, but the one technology that I cannot put away because it is so easy. But again, it is one that it will cause us issues, God forbid, but it would cause us problems. But we're trying to figure out how to really address it. I'll tell you a joke. I've been working with my colleagues to say, can we shut down USSD? And they're like, Innocent, you're crazy. 70% of all mobile phone subscribers in the country use feature phones. How are you going to kill USSD? How will they be able to use all these services? So actually, that's the point. How can we move them off that technology? But it's not an easy thing, but we're working towards that, right? But that person who is at hospital and they're able, or pharmacy, they're able to pay for their medication and they know it's there. At that moment where you need this transaction to go through, right? And the open source, the openness of the technology actually is where the power of this technology lies. It's open to everybody. It's available to everybody. Please contribute to it, perfect it, make it better, because that's how we all benefit from it. If you have identified a vulnerability, patch it up. And when you've patched it up, release the patch. Let everybody know that this is a vulnerability and we have patched it so that the next person will be able to use it immediately without having to go through that. And that is the power of the open source technology. And I mean, there's nothing new in that because this is what has driven the open source technology for a number of decades. Now, Steve mentioned something very, very interesting. There are person to person, person to business, business to government, and all these things. But what is the power, what is the critical enabler of all these things? The merchant. I think when you look at all the participants, there's standard 4-party model kind of arrangements in the payment space, the 3-party model, all these things. But to me, I stand to be corrected, but I think enabling the merchant to be able to receive a payment from any instrument is the power of enabling a payment ecosystem. What do I mean by that? Allow me to explain that. If I am a merchant and a customer comes, they're using, here in Rwanda, we have 2 mobile operators. Customer A comes with a wallet from mobile operator 1. They should be able to transact with me. Customer B comes with a wallet from another. Then customer C comes with a bank wallet. Customer C comes with another payment service provider system. Customer D comes with now a microfinance. On and on and on. If this merchant is able to transact with all these customers who have their payment tools from different service providers, that is where their power lies. Because right now, it's a bilateral. If I don't belong to this network, I cannot be able to transact. But if now you enable that, to me, this creates innovation. You allow people to come and on top of the technology, they build their own products. Number 2, you are actually able to dig deeper into the technology and look at all the data that is being generated. You get insights that is going to inform your business. Number 3, as policymakers, we're able to analyze and see where is the trend and how do we set policies that are addressing citizen needs. Now, my brother Robert and I have had a conversation, and I believe Mansour as well. I think I participated in one session where it was in. It is all good if we did all these things. It's very beautiful. It's good. It's important. But would be falling short if we limit it to our own geographic boundaries. It becomes even more powerful if we are able to now to go across, because I mean, I think more than 60% of the people in this room have come from outside Rwanda. So imagine if you don't have capabilities to continue, transacting, acquiring services the way you want, because you have moved out of your geographical location. So ability to enable cross-border payment services is going to be critical. And I think this is a powerful technology that can be able to power that. And we've worked on, we've done the studies, I've had conversations, policy, looked at what are the key issues that stop that. We've looked at them. I believe now we are at the point where we can say, how now do we move beyond address those inhibitors? And I think from a technical point of view, we have a beautiful solution here that can be able to address that. So is that a sign for me to shut up? So don't take so much of your time, because I know there are exciting conversations that are going on. I want to encourage each and everyone here. We all have a role to play. As a government, specific government of Rwanda, for us, it's not a question of whether or no. It's actually a question of when. Actually, for us, we're very late. We're very late because we should have implemented this about 4 years ago, but we all know what we've gone through. And of course, we have to recognize that sometimes we meet challenges like resources. And by the way, resources, yes, financial and all these, but human resources is a critical one, right? When we're doing the pilot, there are really issues that we had to face. And actually, when you looked at it, by the way, is Paul here? Paul Milken? He's listening.
Paul Milken is on Slack. He's on Zoom listening to you and watching you.
All right. There's a time him and I had a very interesting conversation, and we're able to unlock what really was the issue. And the issue had nothing to do with technology. It was just the way we understood what we were saying and what Warren and Paul and Leslie Yan and Judith were saying. It's just that understanding, right? So, and if we had not really sat down to really explain it, would have missed a critical moment in that conversation. So that's why I say really human resource, technical capabilities to really, conceive certain things and break them down into an understandable language for engineers to be able to execute. This is a time when I wished I was 25, so that I can go back into the coding and be the engineer that I am, or I wanted to be, not what I am today. But I know we have good brains in the room, and there are others outside who are really going to take on and make use of the opportunity that is at hand. So I want to thank everyone that is here today. I want to commit that from our side as the government of Rwanda and as a country, we're more than happy and willing to work with anyone, work with everybody to test, try. Let me assure you one thing. We will fail. For sure, we will fail. but we will not fail to try. And even when we fail, we will not stay down. We'll come back up and we'll move on, because eventually we have to achieve our objectives. We've done it not once, not twice. We've done it numerous times. In 2011, the banking industry in Rwanda launched RTGS for the very first time. As a CIO of a bank at that time, the clearing processes at that time really were at odds with the system that we implemented. We spent 3 months without reconciling our books, until when the central bank had to call every bank and say, guys, shut down your systems, you have to fix this mess. It was not a pleasant experience, but it was one experience that you cannot put a dollar value to, because what we learned from that was immense, and we were able to overcome, and the industry moved far more ahead and faster as a result of that experience. So here, let me guarantee you, you will fail, but the beauty of it is that if you fail, actually just know that you're doing the right thing. Because if you don't fail, there's something wrong somewhere. Because trust me, these things are going to create issues for you. It could be an infrastructure issue. It could be just a network issue. It could be just one, Olivier is not in this room. Olivier Manzi. So Olivier and I used to work together. So we had a situation, and all of a sudden, our systems shut down. We could not process any online banking services. And then we sat down and said, what is going on here? We spent, I think, like 2-3 hours. And then we realized in the configuration setting, the decimal point right after it was only limited to 2 positions right after the decimal point. All we needed was just to expand it to a larger value. But boy, that took us 2 hours to figure out. If it wasn't for smart brains like Olivier, we could have spent 4 days. So it could be just something as stupid as where you put the decimal point, or the value that you put at the other side of that decimal point. It will cause you issues. But the beauty of the whole thing is that when you overcome that, the excitement, the satisfaction, especially when you see a citizen getting a service when they need it, there's nothing you can trade for that. So with that, thank you so much, and I wish you fruitful conversation and discussions.